28-year-old nurse jailed 6 years for pouring hot water on husband.
So far as now, people think that they no longer go into relationships or love with their heads, but they will go with their hearts. You will record some of these things. People should use the combination of the two.
Married couples, even sometimes when they are going on divorce or when they are going for divorce, they wouldn't say the actual
Issues.
issue.
Don't create the society that will endanger the women.
Yeah.
Look, it will get to a stage that women will become like they are rivaling men.
To be fair, gender activism is now very biased. I'm a lady and I'm saying this.
The divorce rate among blacks is higher than even those in the West.
In the West, yeah.
Some people have actually succeeded in making their emotions gods. Like they worship their emotions. Every little thing, like I'm this, every little thing. So it becomes even difficult, like they are like walls. It becomes difficult to penetrate them, to speak to them or communicate to them.
I'm educated. A man cannot take me for a ride. With that mentality, then you are not ready to go.
Okay, guys, welcome to another edition of the podcast. Today, we are having very, important conversations that are trending in our dear motherland, Ghana. And I'm super excited to have, I'm privileged to have big men in the house to help me digest these topics and then, have an interesting conversation. These issues are issues that could affect any of us as human beings living on the surface of this earth. To my far left, I have my big man, Rubicon, in the building. Rubicon is General Manager of Radio Tamale in Tamale. And also, I have Miss Bedao, rich farmer, an entrepreneur and a farmer. She's also a climate activist based in Tamale as well. And we are here to talk about some issues that are trending in Ghana. I have a story from the Ghana Report, and it says that 28-year-old nurse jailed 6 years for pouring hot water on husband. A 28-year-old nurse, Zeinab Ali, has been sentenced to 6 years in prison with hard labor after she poured hot water on her husband, Ryan Yusuf. The convict on January 12, 2024, poured hot water on her husband, Ryan Yusuf, following a misunderstanding over the use of Ryan's car. A car, according to the prosecution, Zainab and Ryan have been married for 4 years and have two children aged 3 years and 9 months old. On January 12, 2024, the couple quarreled over who should use the saloon car. The victim, Ryan, on his way to work, noticed that his car key, which he had placed in one of his pockets, was missing. Upon searching Zainab's bag, he found the key in the bag and kept them in his pocket. Zainab, realizing Ryan had taken the key again from her handbag, confronted him. During a struggle, Zainab held the genitals of Ryan. Ryan allegedly, in return, slapped Zainab. The prosecution added that Zainab went out of the bedroom, entered the kitchen, boiled water in a saucepan, returned to the bedroom, and poured it on Ryan, who was sitting on the bed, causing extensive burns to his body. Ryan immediately called his uncle, Chief Superintendent Yusuf Mahmoud, who came to convey him to Kapsad Hospital for treatment. Zainab reported the case to the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit, DOVSU, where she made a formal complaint of assault against her husband and was subsequently issued with a medical report. 2 days after the incident, Ryan's condition worsened and he was rushed to the Tamale Teaching Hospital, where he was admitted for further treatment. The police were informed of Ryan's condition and a medical form was issued to the victim for endorsement. The medical report revealed that the victim suffered burns of superficial partial thickness and deep partial thickness over parts of his neck, chest, abdomen, left forearm, and left and right thighs. Zainab admitted to pouring hot water on the victim upon her arrest. She was subsequently charged with causing harm contrary to Section 69 of the Criminal Offence Act 1960, Act 29, and arraigned before the Tamale High Court for trial. The judge, Justice Eric Ankoma, after nearly 3 months of trial and 5 witnesses testifying against Zeinab, found Zeinab Ali guilty. She was subsequently sentenced to 6 years in prison for hard labor. I think they made a typo. So the spokeswoman of the victim, Nur Rahman Idris, welcomed the judgment, saying, "We are happy justice has been served." Okay, so our last panel just walked in, the latecomer, AJ Star. Welcome, AJ.
Thank you very much.
So we almost started, and we are talking about the story of Zeinab and Rayhan, the nurse who poured water on, the husband, and has been jailed for 6 years. So it was I was coming to you. What is your initial take on the story?
Honestly, when I first saw the story, and the reason given was the guy or the husband refused her to use a car, I didn't buy into that.
Okay.
Because married couples, even sometimes when they are going on divorce or when they are going for divorce, they wouldn't say the actual
issue.
Yes, they would just get something to cover it up. So I personally believe there is
there
something.
should have been something.
Yes, because
it
doesn't make sense just using a car. What would possibly trigger you to boil water and pour on your husband just because he refused you to use the car? Probably maybe for just that particular day.
Yeah.
Not like always.
Yeah.
It's just that particular moment. So I think there's something.
And we must also say that we are not sure whether that is the exact story. Because, when issues of this nature happen, they are different, it unfolds in different ways. So this is the version that we have seen that is more like detailed.
Yes.
So it could be a bit different, but then this is what we have and that is what we are working with.
Exactly.
Let me hear your thoughts on the
I was thinking that we'll hear from the women since this was an act.
Would you so that you can't okay, AJ.
To me, I think there are 2 ways to this story.
Okay.
When you are somebody who is very outspoken, whenever there's an issue, you just talk about it, you just trash it out, and then you're good. But if you're someone who doesn't really like to open up, you like to harbor pain, so the more it keeps harboring, at a point in time, you feel like, no, it's too much. And it's only action that can make it come out. Because no amount of words you speak or no amount of words you say can be able to explain the pain you feel. And I think that's the only thing, because someone, as she said, he wouldn't tell you that don't go out with the car just that day, and then you just get up and even have the time to wait for the water to boil. That means that as the water is boiling, all the pain from the past is still
others also said that the water was already hot on fire.
Anyway.
They were preparing tea and all of that. So that was why I said the stories could,
Yes, however it is. It couldn't have been just
the car.
That's what I said.
Okay.
It's either probably she's somebody who always speaks out her pain and then decided that no, that day, or she's somebody that doesn't really talk about her pain or whatever she's going through, or probably doesn't even have, because there's this saying that if you are married, you keep your issues to yourself, you don't talk about it and all of that, and there's no one to talk about it with, and it keeps harboring inside. And it keeps growing, and then when you get to a particular point, you feel like, nah, this is enough.
You just have to blow up.
You just have to just
okay.
And then
okay, you have to go Bruce Lee way.
Yes.
Okay, Robbie.
That's the only thing I.
Well, I think that largely, this story happened a few months ago.
Yes.
And when I saw it on, I think one of my guys posted it on our social media page, and that was how come I got to see it. But I read some of the responses from the public, and one thing I realized was that people will go after the ladies, start attacking, but mostly, when it has to do with couple, or when it has to do with couples in general, many times underlying factors really take a huge toll on some of these things. Like she was talking about, this could be something historic. There could be an underlying factor. already if they had this friction, I mean, in the marriage for some time, it will just only wait for a little spark
To trigger.
to trigger a lot more things. And that was what I realized. So when I saw the update about the sentence, then I begin to ask myself that, of course, one would say justice has been served. There were a lot of the courts really deal with facts that are transmitted into being the truth. So if the facts are bare, or if the facts are available and they assess to realize that she's guilty, why not? You see, another thing again is that in recent times, I don't want to say that our generation is totally
Messed up.
I mean, it's totally Bangkok. It's gone haywire.
Yeah.
Look, we our emotions drive almost everything. Sometimes our sensibilities are limited when it comes to matters of this nature. What do you think that, okay, you can, I mean, it hits you and you're able to hold yourself at peace, give it a time. Some others may not. Especially, I also say that another leg is someone thinking that, okay, we are in a modern world now, so certain things happen, they cannot avoid. Look, you sometimes ask yourself, why is it that our mothers and fathers, I mean, majority of parents who gave birth to us, they've been able to live for over 30 years, 20 years, and still within the same marriage? Then in recent times, you realize that a marriage will be successful when it's about 6 months old. Within our time.
Yeah.
Then you just get to understand that a lot of things are really depreciation. Now look, there's this survey. I think that let me make reference to the 2022 survey in the US. Now it is actually indicative. The US population census. You get to realize that 18% of the divorce cases are from the whites. 15% has to do with at least, I mean, this women to men issues, women to men issues in the area of where you realize that probably a man makes a decision that, okay, now I want to marry a fellow man, and so you realize that a staggering about 48% is from black people, black communities who are divorcing their husbands. Look, the black communities, and if you, the figures are split. So if you look at the reasons for some of the divorce cases among the black people, one, somebody may decide that, okay, as I'm going to the US, let me bring my wife over. It gets to a time you get, and I think one of the interesting part is that they cited an instance where some of the men who actually took their women there to roll them as nurses, because they were already trained nurses in Ghana. Some of them get there, they work a few years and think that they are on their own. Then they start bringing problems.
Okay.
The same thing is happening in the UK. In the UK, for instance, there's a lot of power wielded by the women. So in the UK, almost the woman becomes the
woman of the house.
authority. Your woman can, if you decide I'm fed up with you, can just strike a balance, and then police will come and say, pack out.
Yeah.
Even if
I actually saw a video like that of a Nigerian man. He was crying like a child.
Fantastic.
Like they told him to leave the house.
Exactly.
Pack out and
so
leave the house.
you brought the woman on
He
board.
actually brought the woman from
Exactly.
Nigeria to.
You brought the woman, and then you fend for the woman. The woman got to her feet and decided to be something else. So most of these things, I believe, if we had similar occurrences in Ghana or in Africa, it would have been very terrible. But you see, in the aspect of the West, or if you like, probably in America, in the US, where some of these things, they look at domestic violence issues are very critical, where now it's about protection of women's rights. So you realize that a lot of these things really happen. But I'm very much worried about the divorce rates in those countries, because just pardon my word, for one shady reason, somebody calls off the marriage or decide to nullify it. In our side, if you look at the situation of this particular lady and the husband, it is so terrible to the extent that Look, we have seen people pour acid. This one was
Yeah.
just ordinary water, so the person can heal. But acid is one very dangerous substance that even defeat. I saw a guy,
Yeah,
I think,
yeah,
who
I saw
also
it.
did so.
He came back
that-
from from abroad and then had issues with the girlfriend and
Yeah.
they poured acid on his face.
And you look at the then photograph and the recent
it's
photograph
terrible.
of the lady, I thought it was very pathetic. So this one has nothing to do, maybe women do that or men do.
Men do
It's
that.
both sides. And it's because the current generation thinks that there's a way to go. And I think that this generation is on its own level altogether. It will be very difficult for us to curtail some of these things. So far as now, people think that they no longer go into relationships or love with their heads, but they will go with their hearts. You will record some of these things. People should use the combination of the two. I have the heart for you, but the brain should be functioning. Because if you don't just want somebody, if you think that it has gotten
when
to
you
a
say the
level,
brain should be functioning, can you give a can you
no, because
explain?
you must think deep. Look,
So it means
it's
that
not
you
everybody
should
who is
marry
in,
somebody you think is able to.
no,
you
not
know,
precisely,
Love
but
alone
eh,
doesn't sustain relationships.
exactly. So if you you love the person from the heart, but you must be reasonable when it comes to decision making.
Yeah,
You
that's
must-
what I'm trying
exactly.
to say. Because
You must-
if you
you
marry
must think
somebody
through.
because of just love, and the person is not emotionally intelligent, the person is not
Exactly,
able
exactly.
to make the right decisions. It
Or
means
even
that
communicate.
those are all decisions.
So
Yeah.
so
right?
if you look at you get into a relationship with somebody, it doesn't mean that you must follow through everything
Thing the
that,
person
because
says.
sometimes that's what comes. It gets to a level you say that somebody has disappointed you or broken your heart. No, because you were not thinking straight.
Yeah.
You thought that, oh, let's have the fun, let's go through. I'm sure they have kids, 2 children. From the story I
That's
heard,
the
they-
saddest
Yeah,
part.
two children.
2
yeah.
kids.
3 year
So
old.
on what ground? So they've married more over 5 years.
Yeah, over 4 or 5
And
years.
then this is the grounds to which it gets to. Then I think that there should be something more bigger than that.
Done
Because after 2 years, 2 kids, you still get to a level where you pour water on another or on your partner just because of some mess up. I think that is really terrible. I cannot say what I'm sure by now the lady should be regretting, because most of these things,
forever.
after the pain and reaction you
start,
told,
yeah.
look, I have covered a number of stories where you realize, you go to see the victim, then later you saw the person who committed the act, the accused person. Then you realize that if the accused person really got the opportunity right now,
To reverse
they
time.
will undo all those things.
Yeah.
But it's late. Then it's sometimes you see the person even in the witness box. Then you realize that no, it was the pain at that time that made the person not to be patient extra.
I
and do
think
these
you
things.
made mention of a very critical point of where there's a lot of, women are given a lot of power these days. And one of the things that, stood out or that came out was the fact that when this issue actually happened, there weren't a lot of gender advocates talking about it. But a lot of people, I read comments and all of that, were saying that if it was the other way around, it would have been like, you would have seen a whole, like, Twitter, what's the name, going on. Do you think that is also something that is affecting some of these, some of our living as a population or as a society? Because, we are fighting for equality. So what is good for the men is actually good for the women too, right? What do you have to say about that?
No, you know. Let me. It may sound controversial, but pardon me. Look, the reality of the matter is that we live in a society today. Hypocrisy plays a lot of role. Most of the people who say that they are gender activists, they are fighting for the rights of women and all that. I have said it several times, even on radio, that if it's the mindset of bringing a man down to push a man up, I'm not sure it has anything to do with gender activism. Look, we know that women need special places in our society and in our lives.
Yeah.
But you see, don't create a society that will endanger the women.
Yeah.
Look, it will get to a stage that women will become like they are rivaling men. Nobody says that let the men be everything from head to toe. I don't usually talk about scripture issues or, morality aspect of it. But you see, the way some people are campaigning when it comes to the issue of activism is rather brutal to even our coexistence. Let people see the need. Why? Because we know that the dominant sector is the female. But you ask yourself, why are they not playing lead roles majority-wise? Because some of them feel that, no, I must be a servant. Because there are some women who say that they don't want to even have anything to do with politics.
Yeah.
Because of the way it is.
It is.
This is a personal decision. When you force a woman to take that role, she may not be able to perform. And is that growth? It's not growth. But willingly, you see that, look, if I see that this young lady, she's an entrepreneur, right? She's putting up some efforts in that direction. She needs societal support. You don't necessarily say that, we must represent a woman simply because
she's a woman.
She's a woman. When you do that, it's rather like you are trying to do like, we are sympathizing. No, they just need that platform that they can also take opportunities. Because if she's already in it, support her to go through. But don't pull her to say that we are giving it to her, even just because she's a woman. And you see, it will never stop. The hypocrisy is too legendary. It's too glaring. That the moment some issues come up, look, just like I said, I've covered some stories. When it has to do with women, then NGOs or civil society jumps to the wagon and says, we are supporting the woman. We want her rights to be respected. You say if the other way around, then it becomes a different. If a man had poured water in this light, we've seen stories in the past like that in recent times. And how do these same entities handle these things? That's why I'm saying that if you are looking at your donor partners and think that you must see these things through, look, I have so many problems with a lot of the civil society.
And I think for me, that is where the problem actually comes. We Africans, we are destroying the fiber of our society because of money.
Exactly.
Because of the fact that, somebody somewhere gives you money to push a certain agenda you yourself don't even believe in. But you are willing to push it because there's money involved.
Now, any young guy, just because after the university you have no job doing, you say, I'm setting up an NGO or foundation. Look, you see, we must see these things to reason, but not just because we want to do. I am one individual that would want to support a woman to whatever level. So far as there's that space, the woman is willing to take opportunity over it. But not merely just because of the gender. Look, it's not every gender that has
doing it because men are doing it.
Exactly. Because you see,
it's not a
the thing is that we say we want growth in our society. But here's the thing, we are making it look like we are selective. Because based on who you are, you must have access. And that cannot engender growth.
Okay.
You see, this thing that just happened, to wrap up on this, this thing that just happened, I don't know the young lady, but I feel for her. To have a mother of two going to languish in jail, it's terrible. But, justice must play its role. Because the man is in the hospital in pain. We told that he's been taken to Kolebo.
Yeah.
Because he's in pain. And then we must get the understanding that whilst we are seeking justice, let's also have the children at the back of our minds. Going for 6 long years, not seeing your mom.
I was actually saying earlier that it would have been softer if it was the man even going away. But for the woman going away for such, it will hit the children harder.
And I believe the little one is still suckling.
I think it's 9 months. Yeah, I'm sure it should be.
Wow.
He's still suckling, yes.
That's
what that's the most saddest part of the story to me. I initially, I didn't know there were kids involved, but when I learned there were kids, and also about the little one, it actually broke my heart. Because to get separated from your mother in this,
age.
yes.
So it means that before the mother will be out, she might have grown.
It's honestly. A lot of us are walking around damaged emotionally.
Yeah.
And it's just because we are not trying to take responsibility for our emotions. This is very, very important. Yeah, because there are so many things which causes depression, anxiety, those things. If you are still living in your past, definitely it causes you depression. If you are so much
And
concentrated
anxiety.
about the future, it causes you anxiety.
Yeah.
So we need to, yes,
That's true.
that's it. It causes you anxiety.
Yeah.
We need to understand that there are certain things we can't control it. Let nature take its course. Live in the present. And also, I believe when it comes to two people or just relationship issues, communication is very, very important. Because if they were communicating, like he rightly said, maybe already they had some friction in
Issues
the
and-
marriage. But if I believe communication actually solves a
lot of
lot of
problems,
problems.
yeah.
Trust
Yeah.
me. Look, there are so many people who have divorced, and when you speak to them, you realize that the problem on which they divorced
It's not actually
would have
the problem for which they thought
or it could have
it's just
just been like
communication,
some
yeah.
simple communication that would have sorted them out. So, but because they didn't communicate, and we also like this generation, I think we like leaving our emotions hanging. Like, something happens and you
go
don't
and-
address
you
it,
go and
you
pick
push
it.
it, you push it aside. So
Okay.
eventually, when it piles up, that is what happens. And also, you don't have to make your emotions your God. That's how some people are. Some people have actually succeeded in making their emotions gods. Like they worship their emotions. Every little thing, like I'm this,
Listen.
every little thing. So it becomes even difficult, like they are like walls. It becomes difficult to penetrate them, to speak to them or communicate to them. So I think it's high time we actually take these things into considerations. Fine. In marriage, probably
Issues,
you
yeah.
don't have to go out speaking to people about your marital issues, but there are ways the two of you can come together. Even if it's based on, if your marriage was based on betrothal, I think like Mr. Rabicon rightly said, you have to use your heart and
Your head.
yes. So even if it was betrothal, so you can use your head to communicate, because this is actually a long journey you've embarked on. There are kids, whatever you are doing, like you have to factor them in. Like you don't have to be selfish. Like I always say, even if you are divorced, and like we should be matured enough and diplomatic enough to keep a very good relationship.
Cordial relationship.
Once you've created a family, it is important, because at the end of the day, the family you've created, the kids, they didn't choose you, so they are innocent. You don't have to drag them,
Them into the-
you know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's so sad, honestly.
AJ,
Yes.
with regards to the issue of when it comes to a certain gender, activists are very quick to support. But when it comes to a particular, because I mean, we live in a community where like it's like hand go hand come,
Yeah.
and if we actually want equality, it means that what we do this way is the same way we should do the other way. What's your take on regards to?
I would refer to what he said earlier.
Okay.
I think when I was a student, I was going for a women's commission position.
Who come? Yeah.
I was trying to get other people who could support me and all of that. So they introduced me to one man, and then it was like, if I would go for the ex-house president, he would rather support me,
yeah.
but for Wukom, he wouldn't. And he said he had a whole team waiting for me just to see that.
So you go for SRC.
But I hadn't prepared my mind to go for
it.
SRC position. So, and I had like very close colleagues who were going for the same position. So I didn't want it to be like, one, I'm betraying them, and two, I wasn't prepared. So as he said, you push someone to where the person is already prepared to go, not try to force the person to go to where the person is not ready to go. And with the issue of what we started discussing, I don't think this is, to me, everyone has his individual opinion though. I don't think this issue has to do with gender or anything. Right is right, wrong is wrong. So far as you have done something wrong and the society deem it that no, what you have done is wrong, even when the society deem it right, but then morally it is wrong, it is wrong. I was listening to one podcast, and then they were saying that sometimes your reaction to someone when the person does wrong to you, that reaction you are showing the person is not because of what the person has done, but it's because that is who you are. So sometimes you meet somebody in town and maybe you just slide the person small, and the person just comes to you, hey, why did you do this? Why did you do that? It's not because of what you are done, because the person is ready to rage anger. And that is how the person is. So people like that, you just try to avoid them. But as she said, people go around with so much emotions, trying to defend that, yes, this is who they are. And no matter what, you can't do anything to them. And they have that right. And sometimes too, I have this thought that sometimes people deem they are right to certain things because when they were children, they didn't have that. Your mother will tell you, hey, don't do this, don't pick this, don't do this, don't do this. So you are harboring all that things that you were prevented from doing. And now when you grow up, you feel like everything you want, everybody should do it. Even at the workside.
Self-entitlement.
Yes. Because you are doing something that the person feels like, no, to me, it is not what I want. Then it becomes a problem. You have to satisfy that childishness in everybody. Because, yes, when I was a child, I didn't get this. I've grown. I have wings. So this is what I want. Do what I want. And that is one thing that a lot of people don't tend to learn. So if I go out there and I see that, no, this person is trying to get angry or something, I try to avoid the person as much as I can. Even in class, when I know that, no, this person is this way, this person is this way, I try to avoid the person as much as. Even if I have a conversation with the person, 1, 2, and I'm off. Because I don't want to, I'm not ready to satisfy that childishness in that person.
Okay.
So yes, it's heartbreaking to say that they are not talking about this, they are not talking about that. The activism is all about trying to look at the positive side. That is why when women come out and they are like, hey, this woman is going for vice president, this woman is doing this woman, because that is what they are looking for. That is what we are looking for. Not to come and do something bad and you still want us to praise you, that because you are a woman and you did this bad thing, let's praise you.
No, it's not about praises.
Yes.
When somebody does something right and you talk good about it. When there is wrong, you talk about it. Or when a man does wrong, you talk about it.
Exactly.
In the same measure, you should talk about when a woman, because remember, they don't say they are women activists. They say they are gender activists.
Yes.
You get it. So it means that you are just women activists parading yourselves as gender activists. Because if you say, okay, you are a gender activist, and then a woman does something wrong, or a man does something wrong, and like you want all hell to break loose, the same thing should apply when a woman does something wrong.
That is why I said we are looking at the positivity. Why is everybody fighting for gender activism? Because they want women to also thrive. They want women to also improve.
Okay.
That is why when you do something positive, everyone comes in and say, you have done well, you have done well, you have done well.
And
Okay.
also, I think, I think gender activism, I think most people have gotten it wrong. Yes, because to be fair, gender activism is now very biased. I'm a lady and I'm saying this. I made a joke some time ago to one guy that I'm surprised men are not out there yet also fighting for their own
rights.
Yes. Because if you come to look at society and so many things, so much priority has been given to women now. That is a fact. And sometimes you get some privilege and you just know it wasn't on merit, but because of your gender. Yes. So I think in that regard, it is not fair, honestly. It is not. Gradually, men are being left out. The bridge the bridge we were trying to gap gradually is now turning against men, because it's like we've so much focus on women in gender active. Even I've encountered on a training, I'm doing an online training. I'm a trainer online on emotional intelligence, and one Bulgarian lady asked me, that she's confused about gender activism. What is it about? Is it about just promoting females? Like, because that was the scenario or the perception she was getting from so many organizations and people who are just, pushing it. So I had to educate her on it. So I think most of the frontliners have gotten it wrong, honestly, because it's now gradually turning. The tables are turning and it's not fair. We should meet each other at par, 50-50, at least, or even 50-40. But it shouldn't be like 20-80. Yes, when it now tends to affect. So if it happens that way, we get to a certain stage and would have to then bring in men again. Like women came out, feminism. So males too will come. I don't know the term they are going to use. So it's just a matter of being intentional about these things, yes, and getting as much education as we can, and also try to stay away from copycatting, because I've realized that in Africa, like we like just picking things from the Western world,
and coming to
yes, and it's destroying our culture, our society.
We are not thinking about things.
Because even when those things were not there, I think like in a way. We had some stabilization, yes, but now that it is here, it's supposed to even make it better.
But it's making it worse.
So basically that's it.
On what you just said, there was this training we are going to do for women, and then we're going to talk about financial literacy with women in the farming communities. So during our preparations, we're trained to train them. So during our preparations, we're taught that the woman should save, the woman should do this, the woman should do that, the woman should do this. And I asked the question that you are saying the woman should do this, the woman should do that, but what if all of a sudden they are just there and then the husband is like, but why have you changed? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? Because the man is not pre-knowledge to some of these things. So then I suggested that why don't we involve the men as well? So that as we are educating the women and the man comes in a point in time and realizes, this is the reason why this and this is going on. The person really understands. It's all part of the communication. The person really understands why this and this and this is done. And luckily enough, after that, we did another one on abuse and all of that. And the men were now even giving suggestions, and they were now even saying things that, like, the women didn't really have that in mind.
Because at the end of the day, it's just these same people who live together.
Exactly.
So they know themselves better and can,
So including men in even discussions like this is very, very, very important, because you don't, as she said, you don't just look at one side and expect that the coin should turn.
Okay.
No.
All right. Let me come to you, Robbie. Some people are of the view that she's a woman, she's a mother. The number of years given to her is we could have probably the judge could have how do they say it, tempered justice with mercy. I don't know what your take is on that.
I read one of the stories, and I think that the judge was even charitable, because if you look at offenses of that nature and the long, it could take to 15 years, it could take to 7. So if you look at it, why I know the judge actually also did some consideration, because they are using the constitution, they are using the law. And what does the law really say about some of these offenses? And what is the minimum sentence or maximum sentence that can be allotted? So I'm sure carefully, even because of several pleas and maybe her condition, that even made it. And I'm sure at a point in time, there could be an appeal.
A pardon,
But at this stage, I really don't. Well, I'm not a lawyer, so. But I'm sure there could be an appeal to bring down the sentence or the years to fit in, because of, I know her lawyers will certainly be thinking about something like that to appeal. But for now, I just think that based on the law, the 6 years probably is the minimum the judge could offer to such offense. And also considering the fact that she's a woman,
And you see, I'm not touching you, but you see, that is where I always have a problem with people who are fighting for gender equality. These two genders can never be equal. A man and a woman are two different people. I don't know if you get the point.
Oh, yeah, sure.
A woman is supposed to be treated like with softness because women are more vulnerable than men. But if you come and then you preach that we are all equal, so are you saying that what is done to a man should be done to a woman?
No, I mean, she was saying something.
You get it.
She spoke about.
Exactly.
She said that. She said we do the copycat.
Yeah.
You know, whatever we see from the Western,
Elsewhere, we
we
bring
deploy
it,
it to our system, where it doesn't even fit in. You know,
we put it.
You see, the problem with those of us in Africa is that we are fusing Western and our traditional values together, and it's giving us a lot of problems. If in the West, they do not have such traditions, they also have their own style. So they adapt to a particular culture and say, "Oh, this is the way to go." Then you take the whole thing wholesale, and then when it reaches here, you tell them, "Oh, in our setting, no, it was not happening. Today it's happening. Why is it happening like that? Because they say globalization. So now everything is on either the television screens, is on internet. The young people have access to all these things, and it goes. You see, they tell you that there was once a Beijing conference that shows that we were in a particular. Yes. So, but if you even look, do you know why divorce rates in China is not that high?
It's low.
Meanwhile, that's where the conference was.
It was held. Yeah.
The divorce rate among blacks is higher than even those in the West.
In the West, yeah.
So if you have all these things, you realize that we are in a serious problem because it's fused with combination of things we can't even describe.
Yeah.
The West is involved. Our traditional norms and values are part of the system. Hypocrisy is also there. I'm
not cutting you. Just recently, I saw. I don't know whether it's a BBC journalist or somebody backing a baby at work while recording.
Yes.
Exactly.
That picture went viral.
Yeah.
It tells you the mindset we have about the West.
Why? I don't want to mention some names. We saw some people who mounted TV programs, show hosts, and were projecting gender activism, especially the area of women. They said they are feminists. Yes, at that time they were never married. Today they got married and they worship that marriage more than anybody. Just like I said, I don't want to mention some names, but I'm sure we all could see those people.
Yeah.
And today, it seems they have changed their narrative. Meanwhile, you have actually incited a lot of young female to understand that no, this is the way to go. Don't allow any man to control you. I don't think the control is just to remote control a woman. No. But you see, the submissiveness that we talk about, being submissive does not say that, just be on the ground rolling for a man or something. But sometimes the drama about these things is so much neck cracking. And we lead a lot of young women to believe that no, don't allow a man get his way through. And I think that is what brought this issue. If women or fellow women around this lady made the lady to understand that no matter what it is, you can disagree with your man, but to some extent, it's a no. Just the woman has ego, the man has ego. The two egos cannot just work. Sometimes one behaves like a fool for the other to go through. If friends around her even psyched her in this direction. I have seen young ladies in some colleges. I don't want to say it has to do with the nursing colleges and all that. But some of them project themselves as if, for me, I'm educated. A man cannot take me for a ride. With that mentality, then you are not ready to go. You see somebody is getting to a particular age bracket but still believes that she's okay, she's young. We are not saying that marriage follows the paradox of first come, first serve. Not at all. But you see, we have our we have our norms. And we have the way
actually-
society sees
and even
some
science,
category of people.
Science has, I mean, its own way with regards to
Of defining a person.
Yes.
So you see, and I think this gender activism. Meanwhile, many of those who are doing this activism are backing babies and doing campaigns.
Yes.
And the campaigns they give to other ladies sometimes is very disturbing. I went to a particular program. I mean, they took us to a village. They were trying to empower. They said women empowerment. So you go to that particular program, all of them are women. And they are trying to educate the women on how they can stand for themselves and the support that they really need from their husbands. Yet the husbands were not there. It's only because
Exactly.
I rather think that get the men and
To
encourage them
understand,
to,
yeah. To understand,
encourage
yeah.
them to support their wives. That is the empowerment
Yes,
we are
yeah.
looking for. The women will take the message. They can go and
can go
push
and
it on the man. So I think these things we must get our parameters right. Sometimes you hear some of these guys speak, because they are with the civil society, they think that I don't want to say some things and somebody thinks that
I think
I'm
we have-
but I think that sometimes
shooting shots.
sometimes I think that's where our problems are coming from. Because you just see a simple thing that let's come to a common understanding. Those that are feeding you with donations, go and see how they handle stuff. Yeah, it doesn't mean that they also don't have broken homes and all that. No. Even when they will break up, you still see how they relate with them. I mean,
Yeah.
with each other.
Yeah.
But the moment I break up with this woman, if I see even her with the next man, I'll do whatever to destroy
That's
what she's doing. And it doesn't. So you realize that our own terrain is completely
Different,
and
yeah.
it permeates through all the things that we have as a people.
Okay. All right.
Not just with only marriage, almost everything.
Everything, yeah.
Let somebody decide that no, today we are friends. Tomorrow we are no longer friends. Then he turns into a kobolo. Whatever you do doesn't excite him.
Yeah.
And these are the problems we are
Okay.
facing.
All right. Let's round up with this one and then go to the next. You're saying something.
I think this we are deviating a little bit from the main
main
topic,
topic,
and
okay.
I think
Those who
where
are
we are going is
debatable.
it's a very broad topic. So I
Topic,
think
yeah.
we should get a day and
then
probably
have a
talk about
conversation
that.
about that, okay.
But
No, but if you look
wrap up
at, if you see, I think that anything that has to do with the gender portion of it is part of this issue we are talking about. Because you see, there's a rope that is stretched
pulling it.
to get to where everybody, because that's why we started the conversation by saying that we cannot tell that it's only the incident that day that caused the issue.
exactly.
Why? If you are treated with some form of disrespect over a point of, a particular period, you are able to tell when it strikes. It's not just that day incident.
No,
Maybe ordinary
Yeah.
car key and
No.
that will make you pour
There
hot
might have
water.
been
No,
something, yeah.
if you dig into it,
There might
you
have been
realize that
something.
it's something that has been mounted for a
Accumulated, yeah.
time.
A long time.
And why is it being mounted? It's because somebody feels that no, I deserve some treatment. I deserve to be handled in a particular way.
yeah.
And just encouraging all of us to understand, all of us seated here to understand that no matter what it is, you were saying, we cannot just say that we are even.
Yeah.
At least one must play a particular role, another plays
Yeah,
a
different
particular
role,
role.
yeah.
And that is what brings, and that is the family.
Yeah.
Other than that, you get the family issues
We
wrong.
can't all play the same role.
That's just the
All right. So
point.
let's round up. and
So
then-
what lessons? What lessons?
Exactly. I think that's
yes.
that's
What lessons are
Should we learn from this?
from this? And what
And
should
one
we
question
do?
I keep asking was the fact that even if it was that bad,
Yes.
couldn't you have opted for a separation or a divorce or
Exactly.
something just to save yourself all this?
So it should-
'cause
it
I
should tell
remember
you that-
her license has also been revoked from.
Wow.
she cannot practice as a nurse again, even if she comes out.
Wow.
So it's a whole lot of pain she's going to go through. Though the man is also going through pain as well.
I think the take-home lesson is that, he mentioned something that the judge was a bit lenient. I think it's also serve as a deterrent for all of us that you shouldn't think that, because you have children and because you are a woman, you can get
Just do
angry and just do anything you want. It's just there's this saying that if you say we're down for na body share,
Forget what I could.
yes. So if
Yeah.
you have seen that, you should also learn from it that no, if you do this, society is not going to take it easy on you. This is what is going to happen, or probably even worse.
Yeah.
So yes, maybe this is a stepping stone. You might not know. Next time something like that might happen
happen to
and
you.
you go and meet the same judge, and we even give you worse.
Because
So-
for me, I think that the lesson should be that we should actually learn how to, control our emotions.
Yeah.
That is
Emotional
it's very
intelligence.
important. Just a little patience can save you like a whole lot of trouble. So even before you get to the problem, learn how to control your work on yourself, control your emotions, regardless what the situation is. Because when it gets to that point, you are no longer yourself. People think that, because you are sitting down and you are thinking right, you see everything wrong with it. But at that particular point in time, like you are
Everything,
plugged.
yeah.
You have no issue doing what you had to do. It is after that, when you come back to your normal senses, that you feel that, like, you know that you have actually messed yourself up. So I think emotional intelligence is something everybody should work on. Fine, if he's not treating, we're not saying that the man is right or he's wrong. If he's not treating you well, find a different, option.
Approach.
You get it. If you can talk to his people. If it's not working, you can separate. If it's not working, you can go your way. Just save yourself like unnecessary, pain and drama. Because 6 years in prison with hard labor, man.
There's something we call the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the butterfly effect can take a second to change or alter your entire life.
Your entire life.
So it could be positive and it could also be negative. So it all boils down to, mastering your emotional intelligence is very, very important. And also this should be a lesson to us all. Because one way or the other, we are all involved in relationships.
in one
Even if
way or
it's
the
not,
other,
if it's not intimacy, platonic, families. We all
relationships,
come from families, and this thing can even happen between siblings.
Yeah.
So we should understand that.
It happens.
Yes, we
just recently somebody pulled the trigger on a friend and the person died. So it's becoming a big controlling emotions is becoming a big issue with especially young people.
Yeah.
Like 1, 2, and like it's something else.
That's what I said from the beginning, that we've made our emotions our gods.
Our gods, yeah.
Yeah, you walk around feeling entitled. This person should, and also we have this thing at the back of our minds that this person should think this way. He should know this. But so it all comes back to communicating if you don't tell me how you feel, I can't know how you feel. So it's important to actually
and I think that's
communicate
something
those
everybody
things.
should understand. Because like when you know something, you feel that another person should also know it. So automatically you get angry when they are not doing it the way you. It's something we
are not also
have
advocating for divorce, but in cases like this, divorce is better than death.
It's just better than this.
If it's not working,
because both
just
of you are
find
in
your
pain
way.
Now.
That's why we are human beings. We have that logical reasoning.
That's even why there is separation. Probably you can separate and then things will work. You know, when people give themselves space, you start to see like what you actually had.
The value
of the person you actually had. So sometimes in cases like that, you could just, have a conversation and just go your separate ways for some time because of the children. And then probably later on, if it works, you come back and then.
And I also think more sensitization on emotional intelligence should be done.
Okay.